What is it with the prevalence of ghosts in bathrooms in Japan? I set out to just learn more about Hanako-San or Tori no Hanako-San, Hanako of the toilet, but upon further research, it turns out there's a lot. So I'll be doing a series on yokai of the bathroom if you're interested. Anyway, let's get into the legend of Hanako-San. I have weaved all the things I've learned about this legend into one story, so let's discuss. But before we get going, I have to do my spiel. Welcome to Creepycassettiyt, your place for horror in reality and beyond. I am your host, Dee, and if this sort of content is fascinating to you, please hit the like button, subscribe button, and the notification bell so you'll know every time I drop another video. I want to know if this is your first time hearing about Hanako-San, and if not, where did you hear the story? Have you ever been to Japan? Have you ever tried to summon Hanako yourself? If so, let me know in the comments below. Now back to the video. Hey, Akira-san, Hana shouts as she makes her way over to the new student. Everyone who had gone to school with Hana for the last few years knew exactly what she was up to. She was going to bully the new kid, her idea of a twisted welcome. Hana started to lead Akira further out into the schoolyard, away from Sensei's listening ears. She was relishing the opportunity to assert her dominance, relishing the opportunity for another victim. When they were far enough away, Hana said, "So Akira, why are you here?" Her tone slightly mocking. Cho and Nico, her minions, were right behind her, ready to jump as soon as she said how high. They stood around her, hyenas flanking their prey. At least that's what they thought. Akira said, "My parents are abroad and I'm living with my grandparents for a while." Hana asked mockingly, "So your parents abandoned you?" Akira said, getting annoyed. She knew exactly the kind of girl she was dealing with. "No, I just told you they're abroad." "No, I just told you they're abroad," Hana mocked her, her minions chuckling along behind her. Akira rolled her eyes and started to walk away. Hana snatched her arm back and said, "I'm not done with you." Akira snapped her hand back from Hana's grip, glaring. At this point, a couple of the other girls who had previously been playing stopped and gathered around the four girls listening in. Akira said, "Who are you? I don't need your permission for anything." The bystanders were murmuring now. Hana could be brutal. Most of the time, the other girls just stayed out of her way. To them, it seemed like Akira didn't know what she was in for. Hana walked towards Akira, and when she was just inches away, she gave Akira the smile of an unstable person and asked, "So you're brave?" "What? Brave for what? Who are you to fear?" If Hana wasn't one more incident away from being kicked out of school, she might have used that opportunity to smack Akira, but she would have to get a little creative this time. She needed the other girls to see that she was still running things around campus. "Prove your bravery then. Go up to the third floor bathroom and summon Hanako-san." At this, the crowd of girls went silent. Even Cho and Nico looked shocked. This was a little far. No one went to the third floor girls' restroom for a reason, aside from the fact that it was the most dimly lit of all the school bathrooms. But Hanako's presence could still be felt, and she would occasionally attempt to lure girls in by swinging a third stall door in hopes that one might actually want to investigate. But the old picture of the missing girl in the school's foyer was all the reminder that they needed to stay away. One of the girls who had previously stayed silent in all of this, Sara, stepped forward and said, "Akira-san, you don't have to do this. Hanako is not a spirit you want to play with." Hana shouted after, "No, you have to do it. If you don't, I'll make your time here worse than Hanako ever could." Akira scrunched up her face and yelled at Hana, "I'm not afraid of you, and I'm not afraid of Hanako." Audible gasps came from the surrounding students. Sara said, "You don't understand what you're saying." For all Akira knew, this was just people picking on the new kid, and she wasn't about to buy it. Sada asked, "Haven't you heard of Hanako-san?" Akira hadn't. A long time ago, during World War II, a small group of girls were playing hide and seek around the campus. Hanako ran up to the third floor and she hid in the third stall of the third bathroom. An air raid began and it dropped a bomb right in the area of the bathroom, and Hanako was killed instantly. Now she lives in the rebuilt bathroom on the third floor. One of the other girls shouted, "I heard she was killed by a stranger when she was on her way home from school." "A stranger?" another girl said. "I heard she was killed by her parents." Yet another girl chimed in with, "I heard she offed herself in the bathroom stall." For a moment there was a whispered uproar as all the students argued over which version of the story passed down from parents to children who grew up in other prefectures was the correct one. Some people said that it wasn't just any air raid that day either. It was actually the nuclear bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki that took the girl out. Others said said that she died in a plane crash. Sakura stepped up into the circle. Wait, but we have to finish telling her about Yue Sako. Another hush fell over the crowd of girls. The majority of them had heard about Yue Sako. A large picture hung in the school foyer. The picture was old, the frame turning a brassy pigment and the color fading from the photographs. Cho started to tell the story. You know the portrait hanging inside the school foyer? Akira replied, I remember. That's Yue Sako, Sara said. The story is that years ago, she was a newer student like you. She was struggling to make friends with other kids until she fell in with a group of other girls, and as part of her initiation, she summoned Hanako-San. 3 students in the group went upstairs with her to make sure she completed the task. She knocked 3 times and she called out for Hanako, asking if she was present. The door opened just a bit and a pale, bleeding hand reached out and pulled Yui in so quickly that the other students didn't even have time to react. They pulled on the stall door in an attempt to rescue her, but it was too late. By the time they got the stall open, they could see Yui contorted to fit through the hole in the toilet. The girls said that a 3-headed lizard then appeared. One of the heads threatened to eat the girls, the other scolded them for disturbing the yokai, and the 3rd head just stood there, its huge mouth gaping, ready to gobble up the student. The girls ran out of the bathroom. The police, Yui's family, and school officials searched the grounds, the neighborhood, and near Yui's home, but of course they never found anything. The 3 students tried to tell them what happened, but no one believed them. A missing persons investigation was done, and when no clues were found for years, they stopped, suspending the case. Now Yui's picture is basically a memorial. Akira gulped back her fear. She was just about to say something when Yasuda-sensei started making his rounds to shoo stragglers into their designated classrooms. Akira left school pretty quickly at the end of the day to avoid any further conversation about Hanako. For the next month, Akira went back to school every day, and she focused on her work as she always did. The classes that she and Hana shared, Hana did whatever she could to irritate Akira. She would flick paper at her ears during lessons. If the teacher left the room, Hana would pull her hair and pinch her. Some girls tried to step in when they could, but Hana was a relentless bully, and for a 12-year-old girl, she towered over the other girls with an intimidating stature. One day, Akira had officially had enough. Hana had been especially annoying that day, pouring water all over Akira's books as she was reading through the material for her next class. Akira got up, rage in her eyes as she tried to dab at the pages of her workbook. She'd officially had it. It was too much. She had to get the stupid girl off her back. She shoved her books and papers into her book bag, got in Hannah's face. For just a moment, it looked like she might just slap her. Instead, she grabbed her things and walked back into the building, up the 3 flights of steps to the 3rd floor bathroom. Hana, Nico, and Cho right behind her. Sada caught the entire scene and she tagged on to the rest of the group. She was going to try again to talk Akira out of it. Akira started to open the bathroom door and it was just a crack. Hana quickly slammed it shut. What are you going to do? You think you've got the spine to summon Hanako-san? Hana asked, again with an unstable grin. Akira didn't say anything. Instead, she glared and swung the door back, opening it wide, narrowly missing Hana's forehead, much to Akira's chagrin. It would have been a nice bit of payback for a month of torment. The girls all filed into the bathroom. Akira and Hana walking towards the 3rd stall, and the remaining girls stood back against the bathroom walls. Sara said, Akira, please don't do this. It's just not a good idea. Akira picked up her fist to knock, but her hand paused before her knuckles could wrap the plastic door frame. When she hesitated, Hana did it for her, knocking 3 times. At that point, Akira knew there was no going back. So she called out in a jittery voice, Hanako-san, are you present? The bathroom fell silent as every girl held their breath for what was to come. A few seconds went by and it seemed like nothing would happen, but just when the girls started to believe that the legends might have been nonsense all along, the lights started to flicker. The faucet sprayed viscous red liquid, a sickening metallic scent filling the air. It was blood. They didn't have to investigate to know exactly what they were seeing. The girls shrunk back against the bathroom wall, the chill of fear racking their bodies. Sarah, who was closest to the door, tried to pull on the door handle, but it was not budging. A minute went by with just the girls frantic screaming and each one trying to figure out how to escape when suddenly the 3rd stall slammed open and a figure stepped out. She was a young girl. She had to be around the age of the other girls. She couldn't be more than 13. Her pupils were pitch black and took up the majority of her eyeballs. Her skin was unusually pale and sickeningly gray. Her eyes bore the shadows of death. She wore a red red dress with thick straps over top of a white button-down shirt. Her hair cut into an old-fashioned bob. I am here. Her voice had the squeak of youth, but it also seemed to reverberate off the walls of the restroom, a strange, otherworldly sort of edge. As she spoke, she looked down at the girl's shoes. It would come off as shyness for a living person, but on a ghost, it was a bit misleading, especially seeing as she had the upper hand. She was already dead, so what could they possibly do to get away from a ghost? Who summons me? Hanako said. Akira slowly raised her hand. Hana pointed towards Akira, showing her first signs of fear. For once, the bully had met her unholy match. Hanako-san looked up, her eyes glazing over with what could only be described as a mix of rage and excitement. She stared into Akira's eyes. So you've come to play with me, Hanako-san said. Forever. Her face turned up into an unnatural grin. She was asking a question, but the girls knew there was no getting out of this. Someone was going down. Akira said, no, I want to go home. You call on me, and now you don't want to play? She all but growled. You think you have a choice? She stepped a little closer. She was close enough that if she really wanted to grab Akira, she could. Akira froze in her place, but found the strength to say, barely above a whisper, please, she made me do it, pointing her finger at Hana. She wouldn't leave me alone until I summoned you. I just want to come to school and do my work in peace. Akira looked into Hana's eyes this time. The seconds that went by in this moment dragged on for what could easily have been an hour. It seemed like all of those in the room with breath were holding them in. Well, I'll make a deal. Show me which of you has the best grades and I'll let the winner go. At this, Akira brightened. She could do that. She knew her grades would be better than Hana's because Hana, quite frankly, only ever showed up to school to have someone to pick on. She didn't care about grades. There were many times just in the last week when she had been caught napping in class or times she'd been sent away for being disruptive. Akira pulled her book bag off her back and showed her recent exam scores for each class. They were perfect. If Akira was anything, she was attentive. Meanwhile, Hana didn't even carry a book bag to school. She didn't do her homework, so what was the point? Hanako gave Akira a small smirk and looked to Hana, waiting for her to say or do anything. Instead, she attempted to run for the door and she was immediately snapped up by the yokai. It was so fast, the girls barely caught what happened. Hanako wrapped Hana in an impenetrable embrace, and like the snap of a finger, they had disappeared down the toilet drain. Hana screaming as her body contorted to fit through the toilet. Hana screaming as her body contorted to fit inside. She was never seen again, much to the celebration of her bullied victims. So what do you think? Do you or did you have the grades to deter Hanako-san from snatching you away? Let me know in the comments below. Just to recap, Hanako-san's backstory varies from prefecture to prefecture in Japan. The three-headed lizard is an oft-told part of the story. We went over how to go about summoning her, although if I were you, I wouldn't do it, but do you, boo. Some stories say there is no way to stop Hanako-san. Once summoned, there's no getting rid of her. However, others have said showing her perfect grades might get you the slip. Some variations actually make Hanako a boy, with the apparition being known as Hanako-kun. Hanako-san has had her spotlight in pop culture with animes, movies, and manga. Check out the film Tour no Hanako-san, directed by Joji Matsuoka, Shinsei Tour no Hanako-san, directed by Yukihiko Tsutsumi. There's also the manga series Hanako and the Terror of Allegory, written and illustrated by Sake Isuno, or the most recent anime series Toilet Bound Hanako-kun, produced by Lach, which premiered in early 2020. Thank you all so much for watching. I love you to pieces. Have a good couple of weeks, and I will see you soon with another video. Take care.